Hello, and welcome to the Wild Scientist Podcast. Today, you are joined by hosts Trey, Meyer, and
Carranza.
Thanks for joining us today as we are exploring a new scientific paper by Hershkovitz and his team on a new member of the human genus discovered at Nesher, Ramla in Israel. Evidence suggests that it lived during the Middle Pleistocene, made stone tools, and its anatomy is distinct enough from humans and Neanderthals that it does not fit in either species. Got all that? Well, no worries if you didn't, as today we will be taking you through, step by step, everything just described in enough detail to impress your friends with your up-to-date knowledge on human evolution.
One last important note before we begin. In this world of fast-paced science with new discoveries and new understandings of human evolution occurring every day, please be warned, dear listeners, that not everything might be accurate or interpreted the same way when you are listening. As of November 2021, what we present here is accurate and accepted science.
First, let's briefly summarize how scientists know what they know when they find fossils at a site like Nesher Ramla. When scientists are digging at any archaeological or paleontological sites, they pay attention to the different layers of material which accumulate, and they're generally ordered with the youngest near the surface and the oldest further down. Now, this doesn't give us a precise date, but it does tell us what material is older or younger than other material they find at the same site. A more precise date can be achieved through chemical testing of certain materials like animal teeth or burnt flint that does give us a precise date range.
So now that we know how they know this, Nesher Ramla Homo came from the Middle Pleistocene. What the heck is the Middle Pleistocene? Well, it's a period of time stretching from 770 to 126,000 years ago, but the Nesher Ramla Homo is dated to the later part of this time at 140 to 120,000 years ago.
The Middle Pleistocene is a pretty recent time period in human evolution. Modern humans were alive and living across the globe at this time, but you and I weren't the only species around at the time. Neanderthals and Denisovan populations were living across Eurasia.
Papers from Matthias Meyer, Bermudez de Castro, and Mariana Roskindich and their teams all propose a population of human ancestor living in the Middle East during the Middle Pleistocene, all of which were published before the discovery of the Nesher Ramla Homo.
One final clarification before we actually dive into the article. This podcast uses the term Homo a lot, and what we're referring to is the genus that humans belong to. And this genus includes all the closest and most recent human ancestors. When scientists discover new specimens or species, rarely there are more than several fragments of a limited number of bones, and this discovery is no exception. A few fragments of both parietals and a mostly complete mandible with some teeth intact are all that were found from the site.
To explain these bones quickly, the mandible is the jawbone, which includes the lower teeth. Teeth can be used to identify human relatives by their shape and size. The two parietals are bones of the skull, which are on each side of the cranium, which are shaped much like pieces of an eggshell. If you touch each side of your temples with your fingers and move up where your skull rounds up, you are touching your parietal bones.
These bones can be crucial in identifying human ancestors and relatives because brain size, skull shape, and teeth are some of the most important traits of identifying human ancestors and relatives. Using these fragments, scientists measured the size and shape to be compared against contemporary human and Neanderthal populations.
With these measurements in hand, scientists found that Nesher Ramla man does not fit with the either Middle Pleistocene Homo sapiens, better known as you and me, or Neanderthals. Measurements for the parietal bones, mandible, and molar teeth fell outside of the normal range for humans and Neanderthals.
The interpretation that authors Hershkovitz and company take is that Nesher Ramla Homo may be a surviving member of a distinct Middle Pleistocene population in the Middle East and West Asia. The anatomy of Nesher Ramla Homo is closer to Neanderthals than humans, but contains features seen in members of Homo before Neanderthal. Despite being a potentially new and distinct species, there's not enough evidence from these few fossils to give it a proper scientific name yet. And because it lived in modern Israel, it would have given this population an opportunity to interbreed with existing Middle Pleistocene human populations, meaning that you, yes, you, dear listener, may be related to this new discovery.
We hope that by joining us today, you have learned something new and important in the field of human evolution. Nesher Ramla Homo represents a new chapter in human evolution despite only a few skull fragments being found. New species discoveries such as this are exciting for as they expand the family tree and teach us something about ourselves.
Thank you for joining us today on the Wild Scientist Podcast. Have a great day and never stop learning.